Hey guys, welcome to the broadcast today. The Mission 68, where we serve justice, love mercy.
And walk humbly.
How's everybody doing today, folks? We are in Dylan's house today because Jackson and I have kind of rearranged the way that we're doing our planning. So we're going to start planning on Sundays for the week. So we were already here. We thought let's just record here again. So if you ever see us here, it's just because it's just more convenient for us. Currently it's Monday, September 2nd. And it looks like it's going to be a little rainy today, so pack your umbrellas. We got a few things lined up for everyone today. We have some Micah news for September. We went over it today at the village venue that we were talking about. She gave us some stuff, so we're going to debrief y'all on September, what's going to be happening in September for Micah news. The Department of Energy's big new jobs report. We're going to be talking a little bit about some of the DOE's interactions with jobs, and then some potential cuts from the Fed on interest rates and how that's going to impact renewable clean energy industries. So yeah, let's jump into it. First, I want to talk about the grocery giveaway that happened today. It was a pretty big success, so I think it's important to cover. Jackson was there. Dylan unfortunately got food poisoning, so he was not able to make it. But yeah, you want to talk a little bit about that, Jackson?
It was good fun. I've never been to one before. This was my first one, and apparently the attendance was much higher than usual. We ran out.
We
right?
did run out. There were some people who didn't get to have any, so we're gonna have to do more.
Yeah, we'll be prepping for larger groups, but that's a good thing. Larger groups is better. So that means we're servicing more of the community.
Yeah, I've been to a grocery giveaway before, and I didn't expect this kind of turnout. So I don't know if that was maybe. I think that some people had given out flyers, and I don't know if maybe some of you guys who watched the show turned up, but thanks for everyone who did show up and is listening. Thank you for everyone who helped unload the groceries. There were some people who weren't a part of Micah who helped unload the groceries. We appreciate that. That's a great way to start building community. We're excited to do stuff like that again. Next Sunday we have I don't know if we have it up here. September. No, we don't. That's what they told me today, so this could be wrong. I might not want to say it. We are, at some point, I'm going to get the date I'll say it tomorrow, or we'll upload it on, none of them are there, I don't think. But we're having a free dinner. I don't know when it's going to be pulled pork. DW said that today. But yeah, no, really big success today, really good turnout. I was really happy with it. Exciting stuff. So thank you for that. Thanks for everyone for getting together and doing that today. September 5th. So I'm going to repeat that. September 5th. Community education meeting from 6 to 7 at the Sulphur Public Library. It's going to be with Wilma Subra.
Yeah.
Subra, yeah. That's how you say her last name. And I'm assuming she's going to be the one educating us on Westlake Chemical's upcoming permit modifications. So if you want to stay educated on exactly what Westlake's going to be doing, go ahead and show up. Again, that's September 5th from 6 to 7 p.m. September 5th, 6 to 7 p.m. Another date, September 15th. That's when it is. So that's not next Sunday. So I'm glad I didn't say that.
Yeah.
That community meal is September 15th.
It's in 2 Sundays.
That's 2 Sundays from now.
Yeah.
September 15th. The 19th this month, we're having another community educating meeting at the same time as the other one, 6 to 7, with Breon Robinson. This is going to be on the Lake Charles methanol. And then this is a big one. This is one that we're really excited to go to. Me, Jackson, and Dylan are going to be there to interview people. It's the Health and Environment Summit, Climate Change and Community Health at the Henning United Methodist Church Family Center. That's where it's going to be. You do have to sign up for it. The latest time to sign up is September 21st. So make sure you sign up if you want to go. There's going to be free childcare. So if you got kids and you can't take care of them, don't worry about it. There's going to be free childcare there, and there's going to be free lunch. So there will be free lunch. I know how most people say there's never free lunch.
We'll put the link to register in the YouTube video version of this episode.
Yeah, the description. Or I think I can still put it in the live.
You sure?
Yeah. Because I have a description of the live. I'll put it in the description to the live, and we'll put it on the YouTube version of the video, the link to sign up. We're going to do that every single day until the summit. so we'll be announcing that. It's 2 days, September 27th and the 28th. The 27th it's going to be 10:30 to 5:30, and the 28th it's going to be 8:30 to 5:30. And there's going to be a bunch of different people speaking there. If you want to see more info on it, Google it. I don't want to read off all these names right now. And then also on the 27th, we are having a free family movie night with Micah 68. So we're putting together, we're going to have popcorn, beverages, and ice cream. And it's going to be Avatar: The Way of Water, which I thought was a good movie. So, all right, that's the Micah news. I think that's it for Micah. If not, we'll go over more tomorrow. We're going to move on into our bigger news. Not that this isn't big news. Less local news is what I mean by that. So there was the federal meeting. They have an annual meeting where they discuss what their policy is going to be for interest rates and stuff like that.
And this is based off of a heat map article.
Yes, heat map. This is where we got the info from. Both of these ones that we're reviewing today. And there was some talk about some change in policy. So the way that was interpreted was to understand that it seems like the Fed is going to be cutting interest rates soon, which is obviously good news for borrowers. So that ties into the clean energy, because there's an important distinction because both fossil fuel and clean energy industries are affected by interest rates, but the clean energy is more volatile. So it's more, it will range more depending on the interest rate. If the interest rate's high, there's a lot more negatives for clean air than there is fossil fuel industry. So we're going to talk about why it's kind of a big deal, not only for economic stimulation, because there will be more consumers that can borrow, there'll be more businesses that can borrow and not have to pay more interest on it, but for clean energy, it's going to be good for their investment, their industry. So I think I should explain the difference between fossil fuel and clean energy. What is the difference? So why does it affect one more than the other? So clean energy, the benefit is that in the long run, they don't have to pay for their source of energy, because it comes from the wind, the water, the sun. We're not going to go, oh, hey guys, we found a big new sun. And now there's cool new sun energy. We know where it comes from. So in that way, it's beneficial. But in the short term, it isn't, because it's very capital intensive. You need a lot of money to build a solar farm or a windmills. It costs a lot of money. So the way that they get the financing for this is they take out loans. They'll borrow loans from a bank, and at a high interest rate. Over the course of however long it takes to pay off or build the plant, or the whatever the like windmill factory, whatever it is, if it takes a long time at a high interest rate, it's going to accumulate. But most of the time the loans fluctuate with the interest rate, so that's good for the latter half of people paying loans. If the interest rate's getting cut, they're going to end up paying off less, or having to pay less, and they usually pay with other loans. They pay off their debt with other loans. So less debt for these clean industries is going to would result in lower energy prices, because they don't have to have much of their revenue being from expensive, electricity bills, whatever is being supplied. So that's how it is for the clean energy. The fossil fuel industry is a little different. So because the clean energy is more intensive for more capital intensive, it's actually just a 2 percentage point increase to interest rates will yield a 20% increase to the cost of electricity, whereas only an 11% for fossil fuels. So like I said, it's just fossil fuels are less volatile when it comes to this kind of stuff.
They're not as affected nearly as much by minute changes.
Yeah, it's less. It fluctuates less. So there's actually another way it's beneficial for paying off loans. So, oh wait, I think I did explain that already. I just have it in my notes here. Yes, I did explain the other way that it is beneficial. So that's pretty big news. I mean, interest rates getting cut is always pretty much a good news, because it means the government or the Fed is interested in stimulating the economy again. which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's going to be more money in our pockets. Easier for small businesses. This is a good thing. It's especially good for clean energy.
It's also important to point out that what this story demonstrates is the institutional power that fossil fuel industries have.
Yes.
They have these much cushier interest rate, rates. They're not going to take nearly as big of a hit from any industry changes as clean energy would, and that is by design because they have so much internal institutional power, be it through mostly lobbying, I'd say.
Yeah, probably so, because they have the money to back up.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Yeah.
So they're seeing things like this happen is really great because it is signaling a shift towards giving renewable sources more power, hopefully one day matching or even surpassing the fossil fuel industry.
Yeah, and we're actually going to move on to some more better news related to that. The second story today we have is actually related, which is why we wanted to cover both of these today. And more on what Jackson said is, yes, the clean air or clean energy getting bigger. There's a big concern, because I want to relate this back to our community, is that a big concern about what we have in our community is our jobs. Is that industry creates jobs in the area. That's true. It's very true. And we are very clear that we're okay with people working those jobs. It has, you have to make a living. We don't want, no one's saying like the plants are going to get rid of tomorrow. We want to go, let's go get them, guys, tomorrow.
Shut it down.
There's obviously going to be a more practical, shut them down now, tomorrow. No, we care about people's livelihoods. That's why we give away groceries, and we don't want to take away the job that supports your family. Of course.
We just want to make it better for those that are involved in the industry and those who live around it.
Yeah, and I think it's important to emphasize that it is possible to invest in a new industry that creates new jobs for people to work. So it doesn't always, and that would be a transition. It would obviously be a transition.
Yeah.
But that's what we're going to get into next, because next is a little bit more related to labor, which is one of my favorite topics to talk about. I love talking about labor because it affects pretty much the majority, 99% of listeners.
Yeah.
Because only 1% of people are the capital-owning class. So, sorry, that was a little too. Okay, so let's get into this one. So, in the country, there's actually a sentiment amongst Americans. It says here 70% of Americans believe that the economy is getting worse. That is despite having we currently have a strong labor market. We have low unemployment right now, and we are having steady GDP growth. So actually, half of the country was under the impression that employment was at a 50-year low, when it's the opposite. It's at a
50-year high.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's okay. I said it backwards.
No, I was correct. Right. People think it's a 50-year low, but it's
actually a 50-year high. Yes. Wait, no, because it's unemployment.
50-year high.
So they
employed individuals.
So unemployed. Let's clarify that. The 50% of Americans think that employment is at a 50-year high.
Yeah.
Unemployment is at a high. It's not. It's at a low. The truth is that it's at a 50-year historical low. That's all good.
Okay, wait.
Yeah, I think it's because
to clarify.
It's
the unemployed low.
Yes.
The employed high.
No. Yes, employed. Yes, more people are employed. More people are employed.
That hurt.
Yeah. So with the employment, we're still on the topic of clean jobs.
Yeah.
So those are growing, actually. Clean jobs are growing. Fossil fuel jobs are still growing too.
Yeah.
But clean energy jobs have grown 4.2% from last year, and that is more than any other in the energy industry. And it was like 3.9 the year before.
Yeah. That's
albeit maybe slow. It's good news.
Yeah.
It's good that we're having these jobs come in. And amongst those jobs, this is another important thing. Even in the clean energy industry, the community, it's a very pro-union, pro-labor
there's
industry.
a lot of union activity within the industry.
Yeah, so there is one specific example was earlier this year. The United Auto Workers, they ratified a contract to produce EV batteries in Ohio. So that's one of them. And then the United Steelworkers Union, they reached a neutrality agreement with Cobalt Energy, which is essentially means that the company is agreeing not to interfere with the workers' effort to unionize, which is good.
Yeah.
You want to be represented
Fairly
and equally.
Within the workplace.
Unions typically always lead to better working conditions.
Just complete, like, it's almost like a demonstrable correlation between unionization being a net benefit to the worker.
Yeah. So to talk about this a little bit more, the jobs that are being the tying it back to the community, I guess you could say, where we were saying a little bit earlier, this is pretty important, because knowing that these jobs are growing means that in places like here, there is a potential for investment and to be
for the industry to reach us.
Yes.
And to get us out of the I don't want to say it's entrapment per se, but how important the chemical plants are to our local economy. We can't really sustain ourselves without them. So by having these renewable industries grow, it leads to an opportunity to where we can put these chem plants behind us and have our local economy be supported by a more diverse pool of industries. And if it just so happens to be renewable energy, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, and it's also more of like a time thing too.
Yeah, very much. I'm sure most of you know this, but climate change is and always has been a big thing. It's getting worse. We really, really need these alternatives to get going.
Yeah, it's important, and I think that the best news here is that and then this is as someone who lives here in Lake Charles, Sulphur, Louisiana, I hear about this idea all the time of how important their plant job is to them.
Yeah.
And that's valid, because plant jobs pay a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people will just get out of high school, start working a plant job, and end off pretty well off money-wise. Which is, so I can see and understand and empathize why people are so supportive of the industry, because it's given them their livelihood. My grandma was talking to me about that the other day, because she watched the show, and that was her concern. So she goes, yeah, I know that it does this, but it's the only reason that I have a livelihood right now, because my grandfather used to work at the plants, and so he was able to leave off some of his money for my grandma to live off of, because he got paid well there. So it's tied. It's a sentiment that's tied to your safety and your security, because you want to be secure financially. And if the industry's leaving, then you think, well, okay, maybe I'm qualified to be a plant, engineer or whatever that may be, but maybe that doesn't roll over to something else. Maybe you think that this is the only stakes you have. So it's important to start the conversation here, because we need to understand, like, yes, we get that it's necessary for your livelihood, but looking,
there's a lot of negatives associated with that, like not with the idea of it being a good part of our community, right? I'm saying, like, the amount of risk involved with chem plants being within your community, I cannot see it being worth the economic benefits of having it present. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, overall, the long term, certainly not.
Yeah, like what you were saying with, like, your grandfather as an example, like, he passed from cancer.
He did pass away. He passed away from lung cancer, actually. He was a smoker. So let's, being a little generous. I'm gonna be honest. He was a smoker too, but no, but
you can't argue that his chem plant job didn't
probably
exacerbate
it
the
probably
problem.
exacerbated it to some extent. So yes, he did get to make that kind of money while he was alive, but there was
But at what cost?
Yeah, there was health issues, and there's health issues to people who don't even work at the plants, children who grow up here. Yeah, me and everyone actually. But even if that's not your big concern, rest assured that we want to create this positive environment where we need to be vocal about what we want. First of all, what we want our politicians to do.
Yeah.
We want our politicians to invest in better energy and provide us these cleaner jobs. They shouldn't. So the whole system that the plants are putting into place anyway, it's coercive by nature.
Yeah.
Because the alternative is to be poor. So you don't really get a choice, do you? You don't get to say, oh, well, I either get to maybe I'll go work another cush job, or I will work the job that
Because
provides
there are
me.
no other
There's no
options.
other options around here
Because
for a livable.
these chemical industries have had they've clashed our local governments, and they have gotten through so much policy that benefits exclusively their industry, to where they are the only realistic option for a career here.
Yeah, they're the only for that. What, you want to say something?
What I was gonna say is, it's kind of sad when the only options around here are fast food, the plants, or a smoke shop or something else like that. There's not really or you can go work at a bank or something else. There's not really viable options to live around here. I'm lucky, but there's not.
Yeah, that's what we're getting at.
Yeah.
It's the reason that these chem plants are so important to our economy is because they force their way in and shut the door behind them.
Yeah. So and that gives you. So if you view that from the perspective of not being here before the plants got here, you see that as the plants being this gracious, look, we'll give you a job. It's well, they're really not giving you any other choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But no, we need to be vocal about that. Hey, politicians, we don't want you to support these guys. We want you to
to give us more options.
give us more options. Give us more access to becoming educated. If more people become educated, the more they can diversify labor. The less they have to rely on jobs like the plants, who they don't get another. That maybe they'll get a choice to travel. To make it's not a single problem. It's related to a bunch of other problems. So that one of those being, the coercive. I'm using this word a lot, but it's coercive. Being in poverty or being in a low income, there's a lot of options that you don't get you don't really get to. That's exactly what we're saying. But you also don't get to get an education.
Yeah.
I can't go to college and become do business. Because I can't do that right now. I have to go work in the plants.
And the longer this keeps going, the more and more ingrained it's going to get within our economy and our culture. So by spreading this message and educating the community like we are right now, it gives us the opportunity to make these changes. Because that's what I've had conversations with people all the time, and they want these things to happen, but they just don't see it as something that can actually happen in reality because of how institutionally powerful these industries are. So by doing this, what we're having these conversations, and it's allowing us to build these coalitions to fight against these powers.
Yes, we had someone come in today, and that was one of the things that they said. They said Cindy had made the point. She said, if enough of us say something, then we can make a change about it. And
he capitulated to it, but his point of argument was that there's not enough people.
He said that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And then we were like, well, look, there's more people that turned out today.
Yeah.
So you should be passionate about this, because if if everyone, even that guy worked with the LNG plants, and he said, yeah, look, I get that, but no one's ever going to express that. So it is up to us, and we vote for these politicians. These politicians, they don't want to know that, they do know that, but they don't want us to know that if we demand and we say, hey, dog, we are going to vote for you if you aren't representing our best interests.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely what we should say, because we're all in the same boat here. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. I don't, I'm sitting next to the most conservative guy who's not an environmentalist, and we're both taking a huff of whatever the hell is in the air.
Exactly.
So both me and him, we gotta say, hey, neither one of you guys are representing our best interest in health.
Regardless of how you feel about the chem plants, they're still going to lessen your health.
Yes, regardless of how you feel about it, you're still stuck in a place that's going to give you worse health outcomes compared to the rest of the world.
It's just
or not the
true,
world,
like-
but first,
Yeah.
the U.S. and other first world countries. So yeah, we need to be loud. We need to say, hey, politicians,
Yeah.
do what we want, and that's why we write letters. Like we're writing letters to the EPA. So we did some more about that if you want to check it out last video.
That's why we need people to get involved, sign up for the summit, stuff like that.
Yes, just come to the summit. And you're like, oh man, that's not really my thing. Maybe I won't like it. Get involved. Not just because it's the right thing to do, or because God said so, or because it makes you feel good. Because we want the future for our children. For me, I don't know why I say that like I'm 40. For me, for everyone. Even if you're like, oh, I don't think it'll make a difference, just show up and get to know us and get involved with your community, and that'll start stirring political action. Yeah. All right. So we don't have anything else to cover today.
I think that clears it up.
Yeah, I think that cleared it up pretty well. I don't want to, are we missing out on any?
Do we have any upcoming events or
I
anything?
talked about them at the beginning.
I guess I'll start putting flyers up at the smoke shop.
Yeah, we have some flyers. So, certainly, interact with us. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Keep comments. I don't know any of the, subscribe. It helps us out. Subscribe. This
Tune
is
into the live show on
yeah,
our
stream to the
radio
live show.
station.
Yeah, the radio station. If you want to listen to it there, this is volunteer work, so it does help us if you subscribe. Other than that, I think we're good. So I hope you guys have a great day. If you're listening to this on YouTube, if you're listening to this on the radio, you can either have a good day or I hope you've had a good day.
Yeah.
We're gonna see you on the next show. So bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.